Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Even though we wish that everybody would be able to speak, it's going to be very tough for us to have everybody's voice in this session right now. We have already shown you that there is a QR code. I wish that was displayed right now so that we will be able to share. But please do continue adding your voices, because the idea on inclusion, on various problems and flooding, we need to be focusing on health and various problems in Africa, and that is something that we really want to take care. But please do scan these codes, add in your paragraphs, add in your comments, so that we will incorporate your ideas, and then that will be communicated directly towards the high level sessions. I'm really sorry. I really wish everybody could get a chance to speak, but I cannot really give you time because food is waiting for us. There's a lot of activities that needs to be done. This place has a lot of also issues. So please,
Just a quick
if you
comment.
let me, if you let me,
Just a
Boya,
quick comment, please.
I'm only going to give you like 5 seconds.
Okay. So my name is Resilient Mboya. I'm a troublemaker.
Exactly.
Um, so I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. So I haven't had time to quickly look at the concept, but I just wanted to explicitly mention that urban informal settlement in your pillar in the fourth, I think in the sustainable cities has to be included because we have a lot of gaps when it comes to ideas, solutions that are emerging from such settlements. So I just want to lay emphasis as we continue putting in into the document that we have to capture that specifically because if we miss out, there is a billion population growing up in urban informal settlement across Africa, and we cannot ignore this important demographic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mboya. This is literally what we're saying. There's so much diverse problems that should be addressed through ICA and various platforms, and that is why we are here. And how can we be resilient and stay strong and bring solutions is what we're really trying to take care. So before we go and break for lunch, I would like to quickly do quick pictures. But before we bring everybody to the stage and have a quick picture, would you guys mind if we do a team picture? I need a confirmation from you. Is it okay?
Yes.
Then please, the regional teams and the national teams, can you quickly, ICA team, come over here and then take a quick picture, and then we can bring everybody with your flags, with your beautiful clothes, represented well on this stage. Are you guys ready? Ready? Great. ICA team, please run now. We don't have much time. We have a lot of people waiting for us. Yeah, I can see people's hungry. Regional team, Malako. What do we want? When do we want it? Oh my God, you guys are so sleepy. I feel like everybody wants to be in the picture. Oh my. Thank you. Now the rest of the team, please represent your countries among the background of ICA. Okay? Anybody? who wants to be part of the picture, it will be really nice. You can be up. You can be up. You can be up. You got this. Ah,
Thank you.
awesome. Perfect. Yes. Your picture. I know for a fact that everybody wants to take a picture. Perfect.
Hey guys, can you hear me? So, anyone who's in the front, sit down on the floor, then stand up, and then the ones at the back, you guys can stay
We're
as
not
you are.
hearing you, Nahum. Nahum, we're not.
Ashi. So, everyone in the front, please sit down. Then we stand. Then people on the stage, be as you are. Everyone who wants to get in can get in now for the picture.
So we only have 10 minutes. Please be fast. 10 minutes.
Guys, let us all gather, please. Please, we have only 1 minute.
So, can you guys stand a little bit backwards? Go a
And
little
if
bit
you have your
backwards.
flags, please
A little bit.
have it within the picture.
Atgo Ma. Hi guys, please go a little bit backwards. You guys want to get into the picture.
If it is a video. Climate justice. Climate justice. Huh?
All of you, come on. Let's count to three. All of you, please. One. Let's go.
Dari nagla.
Everyone to the camera. Okay? One, two, smile for the camera. One more.
Yes.
Wait,
Justice.
wait, everyone, wait.
What do we want? What do we want this?
Wait, everyone stay there. Everyone stay there. One more time. We want one video.
What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Again.
Okay. So, as you have already known, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. If you want to, if, if you guys are listening to me, clap once. If you're listening to me, clap once. Clap twice. Thrice. I hope you guys are listening. Okay. So lunch is served only for these badges. Only for these badges. These are what badges? ICA badges, right? Right? For other badges, we cannot really accommodate. But for ICA badges, it will be at L3. Okay? Okay? Can I get okay? ICA badges. If you don't have your ICA badges, we will not be serving lunch. Thank you so much. We will be back after 45 minutes.
Hi guys. Uh,
Hello. Thank you.
on a photo session.
We will take this photo.
የዚህን ኢቨንት አላደረጋችሁ ይሄ አይካን አፍሪካ ክላይሜት ሰንት
So our next session will start at 2. Please be on time.
Oh, really? Yes.
You killed it.
Photo for the killers.
ባጁ
Photo for the killers.
አልተደረገም 500 ሰው ትናንት ያስገባ
Photo for the killers.
Photo of the killers.
ባጁ
For the killers.
ባጃሉ ለ300 ሰው
300 ፕሪንት አልተደረገም
ባጃሉ ለ300 ሰው
300 አይደለም እዛ ነበር በዛ
Not the killers. Not the killers.
Not the killers.
Not the killers. The killers.
Hi. Thank you. እሺ አሁን እኔ አልመልስም እዚህ ጋር
እኔንም አንድ እዚህ ጋር አንሳኝ።
ትንሽ እንትን ብሎብሻል። ቪዲዮ ላድርግሽ? ታወሪያለሽ?
አንዴ አንሳኝ እኔንም እዚህ ጋር።
እሺ ስልክ ስጠኝ።
አይ በዛው
በእኔ ላንሳ? Just think. I'll send it for you. Background እኮ ነው። Come this way. ሁለት ሰው በአንድ ይሄ አንድ ፉል ቢት ነው። ቪዲዮ ላድርግ ቆይ።
Oh, okay. So let me talk.
Wait.
Let me talk about climate justice.
Start.
So we're here to discuss climate justice and the implications for people in our country of Ethiopia.
Yes.
It's a very beautiful country, and so
አሁን እንትን ፎቶ አንሳ ፎቶ። Okay. I some of it. You have to speak
it's
louder.
okay. There's people behind us.
Hey.
No problem. No problem. No problem. We'll just take a picture.
Wait. Nice. አሁን ብቻሽን ተነሽ።
Oh, beautiful.
ብቻሽን ተነሽ። አንቺ ጋር ይልካል። ከዛ
It's
ይልካል።
okay. It's better.
Okay. ሰራ
Yes.
እስኪ
Okay, sure.
ሰራ are you from
Are you from Kenya?
It's good? Yeah. You're together in it's nice. It's good.
Yes.
Yeah, again I need this the African flag. Okay. Don't worry. It's my አድርገህ አንስተው። Okay. Video I can do.
Be careful, don't fall.
I think yes. Oui, j'arrive.
Beautiful. How about you? Do you want to take one?
Right, Simon.
Pastor du Congo, only 0.5.
Okay, 0.5.
Once.
Be careful. Don't fall.
There.
Non, pas une vidéo. Quelle vidéo?
Vidéo, moi, tu vas faire ça off dedans après. 1 minute.
Okay. José, vou precisar que tu me finalizes o tempo. Yeah. Não sei ainda, não sei. Vou confirmar agora. Yeah. Vou estar a dar depois. I'm sorry, how much time do I have?
I think 45.
Huh? Yeah,
45 to
45. Okay. Telemóvel? Queres o meu telefone? Sim. Só, não precisa de código para ligar a câmera. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had a delightful lunch. I please ask you to take your seat. We are late and we need to start our session as soon as possible. So I call everybody to take their seats and so we can proceed with our sessions. I please recommend one more time that we take our seats. Session. Unfortunately, we are already late, but since we needed to have our own lunch and we are going to start now our session, I would like to wait for everybody, but that is not possible. We have an agenda, and I know that all of you leaders are very busy, right? So we need to proceed. So my name is Jamaila Brites. I'm a proud Mozambican anthropologist. I'm specialized in monitoring and evaluation, and I work as a social researcher. I'm a Pan-Africanist, a feminist, an activist for youth empowerment and climate justice. I volunteer at Mulady, Women Law and Development in Mozambique, and I also work with a continental network, Feminet, to advance youth, gender, and climate justice agendas. I founded an initiative called LAID and 3 grassroots green businesses. Thank you very much. So I'm very honored to moderate the panel that will discuss our agency as young Africans in the paradigm of climate change. This session, Future Builders, Unlocking Green Jobs Through African Energy Transition and Food Systems, reframes young Africans as leaders of a just transition in energy, food systems, spotlighting real pathways from decentralized renewables and clean tech to regenerative, climate-smart agriculture and resilient value chains. We will surface practical entry points, the risk finance for youth-led volunteers, and align policies, skills, and markets to scale decent, dignified work. Our goal, we will live with concrete commitments that power households, feed communities, and build climate resilience by investing in the people most ready to deliver it, African youth. Please, a round of applause. As we continue with our session, I would like to inform you that there is translation. So if you require translation from English to French or other languages, please request for support. And so you can follow and intervene with the session. As we continue, I would like to call a climate change practitioner, an advocacy and capacity development consultant, with a focus on climate-smart agribusiness and food systems, climate education, and environmental sustainability for youth, gender, and vulnerable communities. Antoinette Monele. More exciting.
Good afternoon. My name is Antoinette Mulele. I'm a young person and I'm from Botswana, representing with my outfit, which is the country flag for Botswana. I would like to just start off by saying that I've listened to a lot of speeches that were being talked about today, and one of the most recurring words were youth are vulnerable. Youth are vulnerable. Well, I would like to pose that very same question to you. Do you feel vulnerable? Yes, no? You can nod, you can shake your head. Do you feel not vulnerable? All right. So my role right now is to talk about unlocking green jobs through Africa energy transition and food systems. So just to give you a bit of background about me on how I qualify to be in front of you right now. I'm a climate change practitioner. I'm a climate change negotiator for my country, Botswana. I negotiate for global stocktake and loss and damage. But I'm also a capacity development and advocacy for food systems. I am more into policies and I really like talking and debating and negotiating. That's my skill. Now, when we are talking about green jobs and how we could make sure that we move from this very same add-on or whatever position or this title we've been given of vulnerability to making sure that we move away from that and take advantage of this very same vulnerability to work towards what we need, which is ultimately money, jobs, making our lives better. Because as much as you have even heard in the previous speeches, we are no longer just the leaders of tomorrow, we are the leaders of now, which means we need to do something. If there's anything I could at least leave you with when I step out, is the fact that a story actually, a piece that I got from this movie Happy Feet, where there were so many challenges, there were so many problems, and one of the mothers said to her child that challenges are but just opportunities. As of this morning, I was hearing a lot of challenges, and one of the things that I wanted to say is, when we talk about just transition, and then we talk about food systems, and then we talk about energy, when you think about all those things, they are big words. But as young people, we have the opportunities to break them down and turn them also not just into these big words, but into opportunities, work, green jobs. And when we talk about green jobs, we mean the kind of jobs that make sure there's not so much emissions, like we don't influence the climate space, or we just make sure that there is some emissions being reduced. And one of the things that we should also know is it talks about sustainable jobs, it talks about economic opportunities. Now, getting back to that statement, challenges are but just opportunities in disguise. When we're growing up, we're told education is the key. And then some people came up with the statements that, oh, they told us education is the key, and we all went and got the education. Now they have changed the locks. We got the key, there's a lock, they're not merging. But that also is a challenge which is an opportunity in disguise. As we stand here and as I was listening to a lot of people giving their speeches and who they are, I noticed, in fact, we have what it takes. We are so much voicing our problems, and I wish we could just pause and just realize all these problems are but just opportunities in disguise. I'll give you one example that was given today, part of green jobs. They were talking about how we have social media platforms. And we're talking today, and some people do not even have access to this information. So which means that already is an opportunity, but a problem, an opportunity in disguise for us to be able to speak and teach this. There's somebody who also talked about the indigenous communities or people in the rural areas and how they're not reached. In fact, my greatest passion is the grassroots communities. I work with those people. I'm a bit of a science communicator. I don't like using big words, but I like reading big words. When I talk like I'm talking to a baby, because that's who I am. That's how I am. My point is, when we leave this place, when we leave Ethiopia, all of us, or wherever you stay, even if you're an Ethiopian, you're going to be faced with challenges. These challenges are going to provoke you, whether it's hunger, whether it's climate change itself, and how it's affecting whatever it is that your space is related to. But you have to also understand one thing: challenges are but just opportunities. And oh, lo and behold, you are the answers and you are the opportunities that are waiting. You have what it takes. You have the key and the lock is there, and you have the mind to tailor make that key to get into that lock and open opportunities, not just for yourself, but for other people, especially the indigenous communities, people who do not speak English, French, or Portuguese, people who cannot come here, people who cannot afford to come here, which is a great opportunity for you to be able to take advantage of that. And here are 3 things I would also like to leave you as some of the opportunities. Capacity building, a tailor-made capacity building. You see, we can be here speaking a lot of English and a lot of words, but trust me, if you are to give the same speech to somebody in the rural areas, they will not understand, because all they want is money or access to the market in terms of food systems, which is an okay thing. But if we have the kind of capacity to be able to help them to see the market or to get the resources that they need, even beyond what we think we have or what we have been programmed to use, the channels that we're being programmed to use, that's an opportunity already. Let's use capacity building to also make sure that we do not just make money for ourselves, but we help other people make money. Number 2, policy development and advocacy. Might I tell you, I do not work for my government, but I'm a climate change negotiator for my government. The truth of the matter is, as somebody who does not work for the government, you are not allowed to negotiate. But guess what? That's a problem. But also, it's an opportunity in disguise. And I stand as that opportunity that has broken through that kind of challenge. You can ask how. I'm willing to let you know on that one. Number 3, resources, finances, whether it's land, rights, and all those things, or even resources in terms of policies that are even helping us to be able to access what we want. All these things are challenges. But I should also let you know something. Whenever there is a policy development meeting or a strategy meeting in your countries or anywhere, always look around and see how many young people are there. And ask yourself a question: why are there so many few young people? And how can I make sure that there are more young people, or they at least know? That's also an opportunity in disguise. As it is, thank you. As it is, there are finances that are there. There are opportunities for funding, for this and that. But sometimes the opportunities are there, and then we are here. We don't know how to measure it up. That's already an opportunity in disguise. It's a challenge, but it's an opportunity in disguise. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's nothing you could remember about my speech, at least remember this, other than the fact that challenges are opportunities in disguise. Remember this: you are capable, you can, despite all the oppositions and all you don't have, you are capable, you can, and Africa definitely needs you. Our older generations, they did their part, or they are doing their part. We cannot wait for tomorrow to make the change that we want in both food systems and in climate change. But we can start now, whether it's protesting, whether it's using social media, whatever it is. Please do your part, and we'll meet on the other side, because I'm doing my part. Thank you.
Stronger. With a powerful speech as this, I don't think anyone is demotivated to own their places and their seats in this room. As we proceed, I would like to start calling my honorable panelists. But first, I see that you need a little bit of energy. So I would like to teach you a little exercise. When I say African, you answer youth. And then I'll say African, and then you answer youth. And you will also clap when you say youth. Do you understand this exercise? Let's wake up from our lunch. So when I say African, you answer, and you should clap at the same time, okay? Let's do the exercise. Are you ready? African, 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 African. Louder now. African, 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 African. A round of applause for yourselves. Thank you. So now I call a youth campaigner and climate change activist, a co-founder of the International Climate Change Development Initiative, Climate Wednesday, a Nigerian youth coalition. We call him Mr. Climate. Olomade Ido, please. Please stand up to receive our honorable guest. Thank you. I would also like to call a South African remarkable climate justice activist and advocate and researcher. Currently leads youth advocacy at the African Climate Alliance and is a member of the UN Secretary General Youth Advisory Group. Sibosiso Mazomba. Let's clap as he comes to our stage. And we need some inclusivity, don't you think? So we have an honorable lady. I have been honored to listen to her many times these 2 weeks. And I know you also enjoyed all of her speeches and presentations. Our national coordinator for Kenya Platform for Climate Governance, and an honorable member of the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, Faith Njije. My dear sisters and brothers, Africa stands at a crossroads with the world's fastest growing youth population and some of the most climate vulnerable communities. The continent faces the dual challenge and opportunity of creating sustainable livelihoods while driving the transition to renewable energy and climate resilient food systems. Green jobs sit at the intersection of these priorities, offering pathways for young people to power prosperity, feed the future, and build resilience against worsening climate shocks. And we have our panelists here to discuss with you guys about this. I would ask them to introduce, and we will then proceed with the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamila. I'll still call you Jamila. That's what I got to know in the last 2 weeks. And distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be before you this afternoon to be able to discuss the subject of unlocking green jobs for youth in Africa through energy and food systems. Just like the initial presenter has presented and talked about looking at challenges as opportunities in disguise. For me, this is climate change as an opportunity in disguise. Because then the other side of the coin is green growth. If we stop emissions, if we stop pursuing pathways that then destroy the environment, destroy livelihoods, then we are pursuing the alternative path, which is the green growth pathway. And it is that particular green growth pathway that then we are going to delve into this afternoon and see what opportunities it offers us. It creates an opportunity where the vulnerability that we have discussed about, we cease to be locked in that box like there's nothing we can do, like there's so much against us, to a moment where we say, wow, I see what else I can do out of it. And this will be what we'll be discussing in the next few moments. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Faith, and thank you, Jamila. I'd like to take the opportunity just to greet everyone in the room, all the distinguished guests and delegates. My name is Sibusiso Mazomba from South Africa. And as Jamila had shared, this is my first time actually attending the Africa Youth Climate Assembly. So really excited to be here with all of you. But also taking up this sort of position as a member of the Secretary General's Youth Advisory Group. And I just want to take the opportunity to assure all of you that I'm very committed in the next 18 months to being an amplifier of the amazing and awesome work that all of the young people in Africa, including all of you in this room, are doing. So as much as I'm in the UNSG as an individual, it is not my individual positions that will inform, what comes out of it. I want to be, an amplifier for the work that you're all already doing. So if you're interested in that, I'm happy to have a conversation. And just on the topic about today around green jobs, I think I would just like to reiterate what Faith was saying, just around, of course, young people, children, women, and disabled people. We are vulnerable. We are more vulnerable to climate change. But not only are we vulnerable, I think we're so much more than that. Young people are leaders. Young people are thinkers. They're actors. They're innovators. And so, as opposed to seeing young people as beneficiaries of this, climate action, I think it's really important that young people are positioned as the actors, the thinkers, and the innovators that they are. So I really look forward to getting into the conversation today around how exactly do we mobilize that, and towards the declaration that we're working on to make sure that it goes outside of this room. Thank you very much.
Hi. Yes, my name is Olumide Idowu, and I'm very happy to be on the panel with this very lovely face, even though I'm transiting from the youth to another sector. I just want to quickly say that I want to be a little bit critical about the issue of green jobs. And in a couple of minutes, I will be focusing on how can young people actually put money in their pocket. We don't need the seat again. We have been requesting for the seat. Now we need to practicalize the kind of jobs that we want to do, because if we continue to workshop capacity building without us building more opportunities, let me call it investment opportunities for young people, then we rather see ourselves as just being attending activities. So for the next couple of minutes, let us look at how we can turn innovation, turn opportunities to realistic, and put money in our pocket. It's very important for young people, because without money, all my lovely sisters here will not be looking good like this. Thank you very much.
We love that, don't we? Thank you, honorable guests. Thank you also for your engaging and attentive minds here. So, as a young person myself, I am going to amplify their questions to you guys, and we are going to be very practical. So, what specific green jobs opportunities there are for African youth?
I want to believe it goes this way again. Okay. I think it's good to have a scoping of what this means and why the youth at the moment, because as my fellow speaker said, there are other categories of people that also still need jobs and money. But why the youth? Why does it matter now? And why Africa now? So you're saying Africa is home to the youngest population in the world today. 70% of the Africa population is aged between 15 and 35 years. And that number is around 420 million. By the year 2030, that number will be around 500 million. So we are not just speaking about the youth, but you're speaking about a number that is about 500 million people that will need to be productively engaged in their economies for themselves, I always say you work first for yourself, work for your economy, and then work for your society and for your country. These 65 million young people could benefit from green skills training, and if we empower them to take advantage of the opportunities that arise with the green transition. On the other hand, it's been said a couple of times, Africa is home to abundant resources that are significant to our green transition. So we have youth on this side, and we have resources on this side. That means we need to match them so that both the resources and the agility and the innovation and the innovative skills mindset of our youth is able to transform these resources into productive use. And therein comes the question of green. 12 million youth come out of our education systems every year annually. So our education system is churning out 12 million youth who need to be productively engaged. So that is the reason why then this conversation becomes not just any other youth conversation. It becomes a very paramount engagement that we need to have if we are to convert, match the resources we have and the youth that we are having around, given the agility, the ability not to be bound by traditional models, the ability not to be bound by history, the ability just to be innovative and be very creative. So that's the reason why we need to harness this particular resource, I'll call it resource, and turn it into an asset for the good of Africa. But why, again, what is a green job? Is it any different from any other job that I should be looking for at this point in time? It is said that green jobs are projected to grow at 24% faster than the traditional roles, given where we are today. The world has demand for sustainable products and services going forward because we are saying we have to stop using the brown way of growing and go to a low carbon development pathway. An average salary in a green sector exceeds a traditional industry by 15%. He talked about getting the money. It means today if I get a job in a green sector, why not? I'll get 15% higher. Career satisfaction rates are 40% higher in sustainability focused sectors than the traditional jobs. Today's young people, both the so-called Gen Zs, if you are from Kenya, we love Gen Zs, the millennials, they are more conscious about an organization that is more environmentally aware than any other just normal job. So it is for that reason that this particular background that I've given needs to be harnessed to be able to be productive, as usual I say, for yourself, for your family, for your society, and for your nation. So I'll allow my colleagues to map up where the opportunities are.
Thank you, Faith, for that context. I think it really positions the discussion around exactly where the opportunities for young people lie. And I want to speak to the experience that I'm familiar with back at home. So if you look at the sector of waste, for example, you find that they do 90% of the work, and by they I mean informal waste pickers, especially in your urban city centers. They do 90% of the recycling, and yet if you look at the kind of conditions that they work under, it's really telling of how much the system sees them as disposable. So I want to highlight the waste sector as one of the opportunities, and of course that has implications for energy as well, because when you start talking about harnessing food waste towards producing energy, that is another potential sort of sector that is bound to grow in the future. So I think positioning young people for sectors like that. But if you look at right now sort of the kind of environment that they're working in, it's very informal, right? And my good brother Geoffrey, I don't know if it's Geoffrey's in the room, was speaking about informality earlier. And that is the context of Africa, is that there's a lot of informal sectors, waste being one of them. And so I think moving beyond that, to integrate these people into the formal economy, or beyond integration into the formal economy, I think what is really needed, where the challenge has been so far, is that when you're a waste picker, you can't access things like funding, because the banks see you and they see you as a risk. So I think there's a need to redefine what risk really means, so that it takes into account the informality of Africa. Because if we're going to move forward as Africans, we're going to need to think creatively about how do we integrate these already existing sectors into the economy of the future, right? Because right now the economy, how we define the economy, is very non-African. It's not defined by any of our interests, any of our priorities. It looks at GDP, it looks at all these sort of concepts that don't really focus on people and people and planet. So I think there's a need to de-risk a lot of these sectors, particularly the waste sector, which has a lot of opportunity to not only deal with waste as a problem, but also to produce energy from a lot of the food waste that is going to our landfills, is being burnt and is producing so much greenhouse gases. So I think that's one sector that I wanted to just touch on, and I'll pass it on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think after two of them, I make a comment. Do you think I should really make a comment as well? Yeah, so for me, I just want to come in another dimension, because most of us as young people, we always think about, what we are thinking about now is to leave university, then get a job and move on. But if I ask in the room, how many of us also follow the policies and even the innovation that happens from the government level? Because most time, all these policies are the one that govern what we actually do in the country. For instance, you talk about the waste sector, you talk about the food sector. Sometimes it looks very interesting when you need to pay tax to run that kind of business. You need to do a sort of paperwork when you are doing small and medium scale businesses. And for young people, these are kind of green jobs you are looking at. But for you to invest or to start that kind of job, you need to do a lot of paperwork. And when you look at what the national determined contribution of each country in Africa is looking at, you look at the ways we want to reduce our emission, the way we want to meet our target, and we're also talking about how do we shift from fossil fuel to renewable energy. And looking at the sector of energy transition, how many of us have, can invest into energy that can run a business that can, last for like 5-6 years? How many of us are thinking about going back to our normal culture of agriculture? Because these are the sectors that young people are looking into. But when it comes to capital, when it comes to investment, it's always a big problem. Let's also look, and I also mentioned the policy issue. I think it's also very important. I don't know if it is something that is interest when we talk about green job. Do you think being a politician is a green job? Is a career? No? But who is the one that is making decision for us as a young people to make our business to strive? Because one thing again is that we need to rethink our mind, that it is not only when I run business, or it is not when I go into politics I'm bad. No, I think it's very important for us to look at how do we also influence the political actions that help us to run green business across Africa. Because if you want to do innovation, if you want to do businesses that drive opportunities for people, we need to think in that way as well. Then how much are we also bringing more young people into the business that we are doing? Because if you are running a business today in Africa and you call it a green business, how much staff do you have as a business? How much opportunities are you opening up for them? So I think it's very important for us not to take away the policies that govern the kind of job we want to do. It is also very important for us not to also to look at who are the investors. Because when you say green job and your investors are the polluters, how do you want to be in that phase to make sure that the green job you talk about is actually green? Because when we say it is green, that means the job is also helping the vulnerable people, is also helping us to create a free communities where people can actually breathe very well. So I think we need to start looking at who influence that jobs we are looking at. and who is making decisions when it comes to tax, when it comes to how you run your income, when it comes to how you work majorly maybe on some policies that govern the kind of job you do. So green job is about innovation, is about how we build investment that is going to be a continuity, not doing this job and jump to another job, in some period. So I think we need to start looking at that moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. So now I would like to direct a question for you, Sibosiso. You had told us that we need to rethink the way we do policies, that we also have to look at the fact that most of us as young people are working in the informal side of economy, and these economies are not thought in a way that include us. So I would ask you, how can governments and partners design policies and investments that align with Africa's demographic divided with its green transition?
Thank you for the question. I only have one answer to that. And I think how they can design those policies is not by themselves, but with the very people that they're designing the policies for. And it shouldn't be designing policies for young people, but it should be designing policies with young people, by young people at the forefront. And so I think today's conversation really around green jobs starts on participation, and Olumide, you're talking about the policies that we need to influence in order to make sure that we have opportunities in this space. And those policies, a lot of the time, if you look at how they're being done, there's not a lot of young people in most of those rooms. I'll speak to South Africa's NDC process a little bit right now, just around the path that they took to public consultations. There wasn't even like one session dedicated towards young people. It's like there's this understanding that young people have to beg. They have to knock on a lot of different doors just to get inside the room, just to be on the table and even have a say. Whether the say gets taken up, whether there's any integration of what young people are saying, it's a completely different thing. So I think really it all starts with inclusive and meaningful participation. And it's one thing to have young people in policy rooms and where decisions are being made, but it's a completely different thing to have the young people influence those decisions, for their voices to not only be heard, but to be integrated into the decision-making process. So I think there's a need, for like more meaningful youth participation, because a lot of it right now is very tick boxy. And it's the same thing, that we're seeing in a lot of these NDC processes. I've been like keeping track of like, if they even mention youth. And I'm very disappointed with Lesotho. I'm very disappointed with Botswana. South Africa is yet to come out, so we'll see how they do on that. But it shows that we still have quite a long way to go. So I think we need to see young people as the actors, as the innovators, the leaders, the thinkers that they are, and acknowledge how meaningful and important their participation is in designing, these economies of the future.
Thank you so much for that. Very enlightening. Olumide, you have spoken about how you want actual practical results coming from Africans, not just participation, not just us here attending to this, but us going back home and being able to actually put all of these things into practice. What role do you think innovation and entrepreneurship play in scaling climate smart farming, renewable energy access? And is there any case studies that are tangible that could be a guide for us?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me quickly respond to what you said. I think that's one of the challenges we have in Africa. When we keep requesting for the table, we keep requesting for meaningful participation. And it is high time for us to define how we young people want to engage. To be sincere with you, when it comes to NDC in Nigeria, young people have been able, most times when you knock the door, if the door is not open, do your stuff and send your comment to them. And sometimes it might come out that a little bit of the aspect of what you are saying can come out from the NDC. And we know that Africans, as young people, we already know where they position us. So if we keep complaining about that, then we will not move forward. So I think it's about countries specifically. If South Africa have not done that, I think we should do more to make sure it happens. Coming back to some case, like for me, I keep telling people that when I was growing up, I first heard about M-Pesa, right, from Kenya. It's very young people that started that platform, and today it's going places. Will I call it green business or green job? But the important thing is that it's being run and managed by young people that started before. And when you come to the western part of Africa, you will see a lot of people doing a lot of things around waste management. People are not talking about circular economy, because that is one of the ways that young people can actually show or showcase what they are doing when it comes to those kind of innovation that we are talking about. And when you also look at the area of how do I make more investment or more income, you will understand that now institutions, international bodies are trying to invest more in young people. But you know, we young people ourselves, number one, are we ready to also open our books? That is one thing that is also a big challenge as well. And when you look at all these institutions, is there actually, from in country, is there actually a green fund that's been, created for young entrepreneurs that you can actually apply and get the opportunity to run your business? I'm looking at blending mechanisms for young people to see how they can, blend financial mechanism for the kind of opportunity you are looking at. Everybody wants to start his own business, but everybody do not want to work together to build a structure that can make 2 people to own business or 3 people to own business. I think those are the kind of framework that we need to be looking at as young people, to also look at how can I invest in a way whereby it's not only me, but it's about other young people. I will also end by saying that in as much as there's a lot of international funding mechanism, we also need to look at internal funding mechanism from in-country. We have countries that they are very key on tax. We need to ask our government, what is this tax? What are they using it for? Because by default, those taxes meant for people that are in the vulnerable communities. And most times, these taxes are being used for, in Nigeria, we call it I don't know whether you guys have it, called ecological funds. Funds that are meant for community development, community, action. So these kind of actions are things I think we as young people, we need to start looking at. I don't want to be at the verge where we complain that young people don't have the table again, or young people need the table. The point here is, let us build the mindset of circular economy. Let us show them that there's a tangible actions that we are working on. In as much as possible, when we go back to where you are coming from, most of us have used our money to travel for meetings, for conferences, right? Most of us have used our money to start small-scale businesses. How are we being able to pitch that business, whether to philanthropists, rather to our local government chairman, rather to our councillors? Because these are the people that actually gain from it. And when you look at the agriculture business, food system, I also believe that most of the food that we are eating today is being, done by young people, because that is from the small and medium scale businesses. These are the kind of food, when you see Nestle, for example, let me use that as an example. They will not come to you to get grains from your farm, but they will go to those big farms to buy, because you are not producing large, meaning that you are feeding more people in the community than these people. So I think it's more important for us to start looking at innovations that is not thinking small, but think big and start small. Then we get there very fast. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So think big and make partnerships, right? And in between many other important things that Olumide said to us. As we finish this conversation and we want to move to you guys for you to make questions, I would like to ask Faith. You've been with us all these 2 weeks, and you also, because you are in the middle of us, I feel like you understand very clearly how we face challenges, and how we feel marginalized, and how the opportunities for youth and the jobs that most of the youth is able to obtain are also marginalized. Even the green movement that we are starting many times is marginalized in our countries. How do we overcome that? How do we move from being passive participants to drivers and leaders?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Indeed, it kind of summarizes everything we've been learning, especially those of us who are in the summer school. If I look at it from the challenge, then convert it to the opportunity and charting the way forward. One is the issue of the skills and knowledge and understanding of just the concept of green growth and even climate. Before the last 2 weeks, a couple of us just knew maybe a little bit of the portions of what this was all about. But I'm glad if I interact with a majority of you, you say your horizon has been the Nairobi Summer School for terms of skilling and equipping the youth with knowledge and understanding of the challenge that we face and the opportunities that arise in there, I believe is something that we should not minimize, but instead expand it so that we can expand that knowledge and understanding. When you engage with an understanding is much better than if you engage from a narrow point. I've been privileged to mentor a youth, and I remember when I met her in a policy room the first time, all she could do raise her hand every time and say, youth are not involved, why are we not involved? I saw her say that in 3 meetings. I took her aside. I told her, if you continue saying this question everywhere you go, then it means that you lack substance of being here. And I say that with a lot of humility. You have to ground what you're saying with a lot of understanding. Understand the context, understand what are these people saying in this policy discourse, and what is the solution. It means you need to go further, research deeper. I could ask, sometimes governments issue policies and they ask for public participation. How many of us submit a memorandum? That does not require knocking a table. How many of us submit a memorandum when your government calls for input? Do we? You have the answer. Some of these opportunities are very open. It simply means you need to see and take advantage of it. What I'm saying is, at some point, sometimes I myself could be the barrier. And in this case, I am saying I youth could be the barrier. Because you want to be given rather than to take it. So it's important that we open our eyes and see the opportunity. I also want to look at the financial obstacle that you talked about. Most of the time, the youth lack collateral. You want to, for the green investments and the circularity investments, because I have also mentored somebody in waste management, and I have seen our challenge in getting money from the formal financial systems. Because, of course, we are counted as risk. First of all, you're a youth, so you are a riskier. Secondly, whatever idea you have has not been tested. So how do we even appropriate money towards it? But on the other hand, there are grants that are offered. I've seen P4G has offered grants. Allow me to be a bit selfish and talk about packages, small grants on CGFA. There's a call that is always offered. You can apply for it and get small grants to start a small idea. You just need to be patient. Sometimes you need money faster, like tomorrow we need the millions, but sometimes it is the 10,000 or the 1,000 that you make every day that eventually becomes the billions that we are looking for. The other challenge is the market access. Surely the recyclable products, I don't know, they have the market. How big the market is at the moment. It's important that we try and develop a market for ourselves, especially in this part of the world, in terms of growing the certifications, growing the standards, so that whatever you're producing is good. I've seen some youth generate like playing tools out of plastic. It's an innovation and it is nice. But if you look at it, you're like, no, my child would not play with this. I'm not sure they'll be healthy when they finish playing with this. So it's important that then we have the right standards and the right certifications, and we can do it by ourselves. We don't have to wait for somebody to design these standards for us. We know our problem, you know where the standard could be, then elicit the standards body in the organization to be able to get the right standards so that the products fit the market and also they're acceptable within us who want to buy recyclable products. I'm also seeing the issue of geographical barriers, because most of these conversations, as you say, is for us in the urban settings and in the cities. And then you find the youth in the rural area do not even understand this because they fail to know because of the geographical barriers. So those of us who get the privilege of being in these positions, once you go back home, kindly cascade what you know to the rest so that we have solutions that are grounded in the community itself. But then we need specialized funds for the youth so that they can be able to access and be able to innovate, because when innovate is not a guarantee it will succeed. So we have to give that grace. It could or it could not. Therefore, it's important we provide what we call a sandbox, both financially and from a regulatory point of view. I've seen countries that say, we will not tax you for the first 5 years. We will not ask you to comply with licenses for the first 5 years as you test your idea. So if our governments, especially the African governments, could borrow this idea and be able to just provide that special sandbox for innovations so that they are cushioned from the forces of the market and the ideas are given opportunity to grow, I believe we'll be nurturing the potential and the capacity that you're speaking about from this particular front. I would like to also add 2 things. Our NDCs going forward. I've been privileged to sit and with the Kenyan National Climate Change Action Plan process twice. But what I see the gap going forward is it doesn't have a target on how many jobs. We have targets for mitigation, we have targets for adaptation, but we do not have a conversion of when those priorities are implemented, how many jobs are we targeting? So it is time for the people in the climate space, not just look at the climate funding and ask for the funding. Can we start tagging along the number of jobs that we'd like to create out of the funding and out of our NDC commitments? That way then all of us will know that with all these NDCs from Africa, we are targeting this number of jobs. And then later on, we can be able to assess ourselves if we're able to achieve that or not. Regional collaboration is very important because within the green space, the market is so international. You just can't do green work in an isolated manner. Therefore, it's important that going forward, we do regional collaboration, take advantage of the Africa-Free Continental Trade Area. I believe the AU is working hard to ensure that we have green elements in the AFCTA, but it's important that then it also reflects our kind of targets that we'd like to have, both in the market system and also for the youth going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very rich. Thank you so much for this clear pathway. I would like to hear from the audience, but I would like to tell you guys that I only have 2 chances. So if you have a question that has been answered, please consider giving the opportunity for someone that has something very reluctant to say. And I'm going to call one person from this side, and I'm going to divide this audience and call one person from that side. So I've seen a hand. Let's do a lady and a man.
Thank you very much. I'm Kono Joel from Cameroon, representing Green Initiative Association. I want to thank the speaker from South Africa who did mention about waste management. It's not a question, but a comment. The very first thing I want us to understand is that, like my brother said, we as youth, first of all, have our own problems. Money is found in dirty places. Waste, for example. I do organic waste transformation or recycling. But it's very difficult sometimes to engage you to go out there and get the waste for you. Because oftentimes everybody wants a white collar job. So I also want to think that in as much as we want to knock on doors, we need to change our mindset. As youth, I call on fellow youths, we need to change our mindset and accept the fact that there is a lot of opportunity in the waste bin. That's the very first thing. The second thing I want to articulate is what I said the first session, is that when we say that it's difficult sometimes to knock at these government doors, if we have representatives or leaders of African Youth Climate Assembly in various countries, they somehow have diplomatic mission, quote unquote, that they can help grassroots youths in knocking some of these government offices. Because if we say here, for example, that A represents this association in Africa, in Botswana, let's say Botswana, Sierra Leone, or whatever, and the person goes there and does his assignment well and figure out these young people in the grassroots who do not know how to go to these governments or seek international funding, his job is going to help them ease that breach. So I still insist on the fact that in as much as we have regional bodies, let us try to be able to give people in various countries who can represent us, give us feedback, and bridge this very long gap. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you very much. I've been struggling to speak today. I don't know why it's just one microphone going around. Should have been two or more. Okay, my name is Aishatu Abdul Razak from Ghana. I am electrical and electronics engineering graduate, and I'm on behalf of HBCU Greenfield. So first of all, I like this. It's my first time being here, and then I would like to commend the panelist Olumide for touching on innovation as well. So every time I hear about climate assemblies and meetings and stuff like this, it's mostly talking about having panelists that are not on the various field of interest. So first of all, I would like to talk about industrialization. We know very well that industrialization is what drives most countries, especially the Western world, right? And every time we talk about solutions, we mostly neglect the fact that we also have to invest a lot into our engineering, our technology, and other things, right? Because when we tackle the issue of food security and green jobs, you could see that in the field of food security, most of the machineries that we need to probably prevent post-harvest losses are not manufactured in our country. We don't have the engineers making them, or maybe they are not, the environment are not promising enough for them to be able to make these innovations to come into effect. For example,
Please, my sister, I'm so sorry for interrupting you, but stay focused on your question. Tell me your question so we can move forward to another person to have
Thank you
the same
very much.
opportunity.
Okay, so I'm just trying to say that we should make sure that we tell our leaders to have policies that enhance industrialization and engineering, because it's the one that will be able to drive the economy and also the green transition. And also for panel discussions and climate issue discussions like this, I wish we have people from various sectors, engineering, law, policy, or any other sector, so that we have the technical things that are involved in discussion all these issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We would like to just one more person from the other side, and that has to be very quick, less than a minute question, so our panelists can also memorize the questions. Just one person on the other side.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nelmo Munyiri from Nairobi. I'm a recording and performing artist, and I really want to understand how you see the work of art and culture into influencing some of the things that you're talking about, because we know Africa and our culture, art and culture is very powerful and very important. So I really want to know your perspective on using art and culture in influencing some of the things that you're talking about.
Thank you so much. I would like to give an opportunity for all, but unfortunately, I'll have to give it back to my panelists. One of you might want to.
Yes, thank you so much for the question around art and culture. I think just wanted to take the opportunity to highlight a little bit about the work that's being done. So in my current role at the African Climate Alliance, I know art is a very big part of the work that we do. So, you know, I think how we see it is that, you know, art and culture and storytelling is a different way to express, you know, about how the crisis is affecting people. Because if you look at, you know, science, it's a lot of numbers, a lot of statistics, but not so much the human feeling, the human connection. So a lot of the work that we've been doing around that is building a regional network of young people around storytelling. That's sort of, you know, a campaign that we've been running. And at these storytelling, we call them solidarity gatherings. So at these solidarity gatherings, it's basically an opportunity for young people to connect with each other and build community. Of course, you know, we are all affected. We all have our different backgrounds, but just coming into the space as you know, young people who are part of the same community and doing that through art and storytelling. So, you know, we have a lot of there's a lot of art that, you know, takes place at the session. You know, whether through different mediums, so painting and drawing and, you know, a lot of different forms. So all of that just to say that I think there's a very active movement in Africa that is currently going on around exactly the art, the community, the indigenous storytelling solutions as well. And so I think the maybe the takeaway there is the need for us to take this into a lot of these formal spaces, you know. When a lot of consultations are happening, of course, it's like very conferencey and, you know, lots of jargon that is used in those rooms. But I think there's a real opportunity to take a different style to, you know, speaking to people about the experiences, and art, storytelling, culture, I think is a really important way to do that, but also lots of potential in what it could achieve in building a community, because that's what storytelling does. It allows you to connect to people. You know, the art allows you to sort of let yourself go and, you know, not to take yourself too seriously, because at the end of the day, we're all just human beings, you know, who are just trying our best. So I think there's big potential in the art, the storytelling, the culture as well.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Okay, so let me just quickly come to my my brother. Fantastically, I quickly want to look at the issue of being, you know, having representative in each country. Let me tell you, one of the biggest problems young people we have been having is to have one voice, and it has been a big. If you check inside this room, we have nothing less than 500 organizations represented. So my quick point is, unless we tackle that one voice or somebody representing you to speak on your behalf in your country would be a little bit. So what I always suggest here is, how are we making our National Youth Council accountable when it comes to engagement with the government? We are not really working on that. Secondly, we also need to look at what is the role of, if we have one now, the African Youth Envoy. What is our role, or what is his role in making sure that bringing young people together and speak for? Because when you are a representative under the African, you know, umbrella, you speak for every voice of young people. Whether you are into business, whether you are into waste, is one voice. So we need to look into that and make sure that we strengthen that part so that everybody can also. Then also not to forget that every country have their own way of engaging young people. So I will advise that we also go back to our country to look at what is the strategy of engaging our Minister for Youth Development and all other ministries that are actually active when it comes to development issues is very, very key. And what we always say, that anything for us without us, it is not meant for us. So it's very key for us to look at that. My sister mentioned experts. Let me tell you, everybody sitting down here, we are all experts. Whether you are doing business, whether you are doing advocacy, whether anything you are doing, you are all experts. The only thing we need to do is to translate it into making money, so that we can all also have the moment that we can speak out. Because, you know, it's a mentality that when you don't have money, you want to keep yourself in a corner. But don't do that. Let's speak out and be able to, you know, challenge those narratives that we want to change. And you can also do what we call, what they call it. You can also, if you are from Ghana, I'm from Nigeria, you can ask what is working well for you, that you can, you know, practice in your country to see how we can also build that innovation and opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And as we finish, I would like Faith to say the last words.
Thank you. I'd like to answer the a question on the industrialization as a driver of economic growth. We indeed agree that we need to be able to industrialize as Africa because that's where the opportunities are. Within the green growth pathway, the opportunity that I see that we have is on secondary manufacturing, because most of the products come to us as virgin materials. And in the spirit of circularity, in the spirit of the green growth agenda, where we put materials to stay in the economy for as long as possible at the highest economic value, it means we have opportunity to turn those materials that today you and me take it to the dump site to instead create a secondary manufacturing ecosystem within ourselves in Africa, and thereby ensuring that the materials that we are using are also of value to us. So we may not necessarily do the industrialization that has been done before, but we can convert the materials that we have now by diverting them from the dump sites and ensuring that they stay in the economy as much as possible. Lastly, my word will be Africa's green future is highly dependent on how we empower our youth, who are our greatest asset. It's not only an economic opportunity, but also an opportunity to revolutionize our societies and also our environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for our panelists and our deep insights. Thank you so much for your presence here today and your in-depth answers to us, clearing our pathways and enlightening us with our deep questions. I know there is a lot of other questions that we could answer, but I know that you also have to position yourselves as solution makers and people that answer. Also, the people that are answering are not this side, but on that side. So if you have an innovation, a business idea, or anything that you could make or you could answer as a solution, commit yourself to create that business plan. Commit yourself to find a partner, an international, intercontinental partner here in the room. I've done that today. Where's my business partner? I have a business partner that I made here in this room. And we are going to expand both our businesses. So commit yourselves to create business partners and commit yourselves to knock on the doors with the papers, the protocols, the legal documents, all of these things that we are, young people are afraid to start doing them. We have the knowledge, we have the guidance, we have the leadership, the platform, the number, and the resources. Let's call resources instead of waste, right? So a round of applause for you guys. Thank you so much, our panelists. We're going to...
A lot of applause to the panelists once again. And our amazing moderator, Jamaila, all the way from Mozambique. Let's appreciate her for an amazing moderation. So as we get ready for the second panel, we also have an amazing young person that I want to introduce on stage, who is going to moderate this session. Let's wait for the group picture. Let's appreciate them as they take their seats. So this next session is going to be moderated by none other than Manal Bidar from Morocco. Let's appreciate her as she comes to stage.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm just going to the stage now. I am on the stage. I'm walking to the podium. Please give me a second. So, okay. So, hi everyone. My name is Manal. I am from Morocco. Who of you knows where Morocco is? Yeah? Yeah? Who of you knows what is the best country in Africa? No! No! you dare to say it in my face. Okay, so to not waste time, my name is Manal. I am a climate activist, a climate justice activist, and I come from Morocco, and I'm based in Morocco. According to me, it's the best country in Africa. Please fight me after this panel. But today we are in a very important side event about ecosystem restoration and nature. And before we start this event, and before calling on the panelists, we have a small icebreaker, sort of a game. So if you all indulge me, please bring your phone and scan the QR code that should appear Here. Yes. Please indulge me. Thank you all. I see a lot of phones. Oh, actually, is it possible for me to share screen from my laptop? Okay. Do you have? Sorry, technical issues. Please give us 2 minutes. Okay, technical issue fixed. So can you share the screens with that? I'm on the stage again. Welcome back to me. I hope you all didn't miss me so much. I miss you all, you know. Back there, you cannot see the people in there. Okay, so while we're waiting for them, if you scan the QR code, if you have already scanned it, then the first question should be, where are you from? Is it working? Oh, okay. Okay, so since we have a lot of technical, this is my first time moderating. Why is this happening? Thank you. Okay, while we wait for that, is it going to take? Yeah, today, just anecdote while they're fixing this. So I'm from Morocco, and I forgot the flag of my country. Imagine coming to the summer school, I forgot the flag of my country, and I also forgot the traditional dress. And I had to skip lunch to go to the embassy to ask them to please lend me a Moroccan dress, which is the one I'm wearing, and lend me a Moroccan flag. So please take pictures with me when we go outside with the flag of Morocco, because all the 2 weeks of the summer school, everyone is taking pictures with their beautiful flags, and I'm left there without a flag. Okay, it seems to be working. So do you still have the link that you scanned earlier? Yes? No? Can you switch back to the QR code and then switch back to this? Sorry, IT team. I'll treat you to good Moroccan food when you come to Morocco. Okay, I am waiting on the stage. Can you share the QR code meanwhile? Okay, yes, okay. Can we all scan this QR code? I think there is a capacity limit of around 50 people, but if we get 50 people scan, please scan for me. Thank you all. Okay, let's give it like 5 seconds to put pressure on you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5. 1. Okay, I think you can. Some people still have their phones up. Okay, I think you can switch back to the other one. What is the link working for everyone? This the declaration. No, can you put the other one? Oh my god. Okay. Does anyone want to volunteer to sing for us a national song from their country while we wait for this to be fixed? I'm serious. Okay, we have one. Come. Come. Can we clap for him? Where are you from? He's from Somalia. Nice. Okay.
I don't know what should I say. Hey, how you doing, guys? So,
Sing for us.
oh my goodness, this is terrible. I can't even move. I can't even move.
No, it's okay. Wait. Think about food.
Okay, mozzarella,
No.
cheese.
No.
It's not working.
Think about jollof. I don't know any good food here other than jollof. Moroccan food, injera.
Injera is good. I guess I'm gonna sing. I'm just gonna sing. It's okay. I'm just gonna sing. Can you please record so I can have it?
Of course.
Thank you. There are no gold in this river, but I can bring myself to swim when I am drowning in this silence, baby. Let me go easy on me, baby. I was still a child. Did I get a chance to feel the water around me? I had no time to choose what I choose to do. So go easy on me. I guess that's enough, right?
Wow.
Thank you. My name is Adnan. I'm Somali. I am on behalf UVIT. It's a youth-led. It's a. Oh my goodness, it's terrifying. I'm just gonna go down.
Do you have a YouTube channel? Can you sign? Please come sign. Okay, later. Sign for me later. I want to have your autograph. Okay, it seems the technical QR code is not working. But if you indulge me, Elizabeth, I shared the link in the WhatsApp group with all the participants so they can click on it from there and we can still have it in 5 minutes. So can you put, oh, okay, it's here. This is the QR code, please scan it. Thank you, Somali person, for singing for us. You see, it's so crazy. Us, we are climate activists. We care about climate justice, and we all like have our own lives, and we're so talented, and we're doing a lot of other things. Okay, if it's not working, I also shared it in the WhatsApp group. Yes? Okay, so the first question, I hope everyone scanned it. Yes? Okay, keep it here. So the first question is, where are you from? I know a lot of us here are from Africa. I am from Africa. We also have a lot of other people from different places, so. Okay, please switch to the other link. Yes. Can you update, like, refresh? Okay, so we have a lot of people from Africa, from Asia. Someone is here from South America. Who are you? Okay, South American person. Thank you for being here. From Africa. Okay, next, which region of Africa are you from? Are you from North Africa like me? West Africa? Central? I like how once I skipped to the question, there's 21 people from Eastern Horn of Africa. 28 people. Wow. 31. There's one person from North Africa other than me. Okay. 4 from Southern Africa, 3 Central Africa, 5 West Africa. Where are the West Africans? Okay, next question. How are you feeling today? You know, being a climate activist is so, we have a lot of energy, we are young people and so on. But honestly, for me, I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed. I've been waking up every day at 7 a.m., which is unusual for me. So how about the rest of you? Are you feeling tired? Are you happy? Energized? Okay, we have so many people who are tired, overwhelmed. Next question is, who are you? Are you a policymaker? Are you civil society? Are you a young person? You can choose multiple options. Are you academia? Are you a young professional? Can you click on one of any random option? Or you are not academia, you are other. Just click on other, because you are other. Yes. Okay, so most people here are either children and youth, young professionals. We don't have a lot of policymakers. 11% of us are policymakers. 8% of us are UN. 17% of us are other. I'm very interested in knowing what's other. We have IT. We have a singer. Okay, next question. Now we're getting serious question. So how involved are you in ecosystems restoration? So restoring your ecosystems, whether there is forests, whether there is wetlands, and so on. Are you very involved? And there's no shame in not being involved, because we hope that this panel is going to set the stage for you to learn more about ecosystem restoration and learn about the opportunities, the challenges. Okay, we have most people here are somewhat involved. We have 19 people who are somewhat involved. We have 15 who are very involved, 11 who are not involved. I just said there's no shame in not being involved, but the 11 people who are not involved yet, what are you doing here? No, really. Okay, next question. This is a question. It's a very open question. Is what do young people need to actively get involved in ecosystems restoration? So for the people who said they're not involved, they're somewhat involved, what do you need to be more involved in ecosystems restoration? Okay, we have money, education. I'm not sure, can you all see the answers? You cannot see the answers? Oh. Okay, well, I'll share the answers later in the WhatsApp group. It's very sad we couldn't display the answers here. But for me, it's looking very nice. I can see money, opportunities, capacity building, funding and support, awareness, strong policies, good leaders, keep them coming. Energy systems, funds, education, more opportunities, no borders, love for our community, good leaders, good policies, plant trees, technical support. Okay. We can keep this question until the end. Or maybe we can have it now, very quickly. What should the African Climate Summit deliver in regards to ecosystem restoration and youth engagement? What do you want from this summit? If you are someone who already works on restoring ecosystems in your country or in your region, what exactly do you expect from the summits? We have support, inclusion, opportunities, money. I love how we're so straightforward. We're not climate finance, we're money, inclusion, stage, networking, motivation, structure, exposure, a better world. bridging knowledge gaps, collaboration, policy making. Okay. Now, the next question is, in Africa, we have a lot of initiatives that are already being implemented. So with this, please check which initiatives you already have. And I'd like to invite Lumumbu from Kenya to briefly introduce. No, we can do it later. Okay, we can introduce these initiatives later. Okay. I think we can stop here. Participating in this. And now to the best part of our events, I would like to call on our amazing and very important panelists. So please join me in clapping for and applauding Mrs. Leah Wanambua. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Miss Dr. Firu Kefialu and Mrs. Sophie Odiambo. Okay, we have, I suppose, Dr. Firu. Thank you all so much. We apologize for the technical difficulties. We wanted the icebreaker to be more, interactive, to just set the scene a bit. But we are very happy and honored you're all joining us. So without further ado, I would pass it on to all of you to please introduce yourself and the work you do in ecosystems restoration and nature protection. So. You can introduce yourself. What do you do?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Addis Ababa. My name is Leah Wanambua. I'm working at the African Union Commission, and I'm leading the Great Green Wall Initiative. So the Great Green Wall Initiative is all about building the resilience of communities, economies, and ecosystems in the drylands of Africa. So I don't know if I should continue or...
Good afternoon. My name is Freo Kafialo. I'm the founder of a volunteers movement called Plugging Ethiopia, which combines jogging, walking with trash picking business. And I'm from Ethiopia.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sophie Odiambo. I work with WWF as an expert on the GBF, Global Biodiversity Framework Policy for Africa. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you all so much. So maybe then I would transition to my first question, which is the same for all of you, is we talk a lot about ecosystem restoration, but what does it actually mean in practice? And how can us, all of us in this room, be very involved in it, either in our countries, in our regions, and so on? So maybe I'll start with you, Doctor. What does ecosystem restoration practice, and how can we get involved in it, specifically us as young people, youth-led organizations, youth movements, grassroots organizations, and so on? What can we do to be more involved in protecting our nature, our resources, and restoring our ecosystems?
Well, thank you very much. Well, I have to admit that we never called it ecosystem restoration. What we call it, is plugging, which means, as I said earlier, combining walking and jogging, and at the same time, picking up plastic trash, which I understand contributes to ecosystem restoration because it fights plastic pollution. We do this basically to promote care for the environment, and then primarily care for the individual, because you walk and jog and that's for your own health. But we extend that with a bit of generosity to to our environment, to the planet by picking up plastic trash, which I understand contributes to ecosystem restoration. And then we've been doing this for nearly 5 years, every week, uninterrupted. And then, by the way, this is a volunteers movement with zero budget. So we're not an NGO, we're just ordinary citizens of the world, meeting every week, then walking and then picking up plastic trash. We don't look for funds. If there are volunteers who want to contribute, they're welcome. Otherwise, we don't write proposals looking for funds. We rely pretty much on an organic way of social change, raising awareness and testing whether it is viable to rely on positive energy of people to come up with sustainable change, which in our case is fighting plastic pollution. So what can youth do? And I think the primary thing is awareness. To realize that you have only one planet, and then it takes an effort, an individual effort, to take care of this planet, so that you can live a healthy life, and then so that you can have a world that is conducive to live in for yourself and for the future. So I do this primarily for my children, by the way. So I'm not doing it to be on a stage like this and then talk about it. I do it for my children because I know I'll be gone one day. But I want to make sure that there is a trend in the family, in the community, and hopefully in the country, and hopefully in Africa, that each and every parent actually leaves a cleaner environment for children. So in this movement that we have started, so many youth, after we started introducing what we're doing as a family, I have 3 boys, so after we started writing about it, talking about it, using the social media, which is also free, so many young people started to join us. How many those from Ethiopia, I see some people who have participated in our blogging efforts in the last 4 years. Could you please raise your hands? I see Yodai there, and I've seen some other familiar faces. Yeah. So young people come and join us. It's also an opportunity to network, exchange ideas, take a break from your phone, look at nature, marvel, yeah, and contribute something meaningful. Lowering yourself to the ground with humility and in service to the world, to the generation to come. So for young people to participate, it is just that mindfulness and awareness that you do not have everything for granted. We are suffocated by commodities, and I know about plastics, so I can tell you about plastics. And these are really nice things to see, but you need to realize that it is suffocating us. It is suffocating our world. We're eating it, we're drinking it, and we're breathing it in. That's what I can say.
Thank you so much. And now passing it on to Ms. Thea, you do amazing work in the African Union Commission, and you are one of the key people in the Great Green Wall Initiative. Can you tell us a little bit more about this initiative, and how can young people be involved with the Commission or in broader ecosystem restoration within the continent?
Thank you. Actually, the Great Green Wall is one of the Africa's flagship programs from 2007. And if you look at it, it's actually the one project you can use to implement the conventions. So if you look at issues of climate change, desertification and land degradation and biodiversity, these are so the Great Green Wall sits in the middle of all that. And I like to say that it's actually a real example of how you can use ecosystem restoration to build the resilience by linking nature to livelihoods and positioning the African youth as one of the key drivers of change. So it has a 10-year implementation framework. And of course, there's a lot of restoration, as I mentioned earlier, And most of this work is done by youth. And it's local activities at the community level. It's not activities, at least in terms of this initiative. So it contributes, of course, to these sessions' objectives. For example, it aims to restore 100 million hectares of degraded land across the Sahel and Sahara region by 2030. But from 2024, we adopted a new strategy. So it's not just focused on the Sahel. It's also now covering the SADC region. So the Southern Africa Development Community also has now the Great Green Wall. So it's now not the Great Green Wall for the Sahel and Sahara Initiative, but it's now just the Great Green Wall Initiative. So with this new strategy, we hope to incorporate all other countries who have dry lands, because we realize this issue is not just for the Sahel, but we do have many dry areas on the continent. Of course, it's about not just tree planting across the Sahel as initially thought, or a line of trees, but it's about, it's a mosaic of, let's say, ecosystems projects that aim to combat the impacts of climate change, drought, and land degradation, which are, of course, linked to issues of food security and stability as well. As we know, some of these areas, there's a little bit of not too much stability. We do have activities such as agroforestry, natural regeneration, etc. We also feel that it's one of those initiatives that connects people with nature. So by trying to improve the well-being of the communities, and it's create a good foundation for the livelihoods of the millions of people living here. In terms of the youth, we do see the youth as custodians. The African youth are not just the beneficiaries of the Great Green Wall Initiative, they are also actively involved. They are also part of the innovators. We recognize the young people as key to the long-term success of this project because they represent a majority of the population. So of course, as I mentioned earlier, they do things on land restoration, agroforestry. We do have sustainable value chain development as well. We did have a meeting earlier on in February, and we brought a few youth to just showcase what they were doing. And we did have entrepreneurs showing what they're doing on the moringa and developing just products from some of these drylands, if you just call them that. We also had those who are doing climate adaptation projects. Some other organizations, I think, have attempted to do solar projects in these dry areas, because if you're going to get water from underground, you may need some kind of power. And it's not always that these regions have grid access to the grid. So the issues of, so it's not just about, like I said, tree planting, it's green jobs, it's about renewable energy, it's about farming and resilient and climate smart agriculture. And also, of course, as I think we have our biodiversity expert here, there's a lot of work also on biodiversity. I'll stop there, but then I'll come back later. I'm actually a rapporteur in the meeting that's going on next door.
No, we know how busy you are, and we appreciate your time with us. So, and we would also appreciate if you can share more resources about how all of us in this room can engage more with the Great Green Wall Initiative, and we hope to see it more, for example, in my region in North Africa. But thank you so much for all the efforts that you do in terms of ecosystem restoration. Now, passing it on to our biodiversity expert. You mentioned GPF. In a lot of contexts, when we talk about GPF, it's mostly a global context. We talk about big goals. We talk about big numbers. How can we localize these numbers? How can we localize biodiversity action to our respective contexts in our different regions and countries, specifically at the local grassroots level, sometimes also at the regional, national level?
Thank you for that question. So the primary instrument that looks at localizing GBF is what we call the National Biodiversity Strategic Action Plans. How many people have heard of those or participated in their countries in developing them? All right. So the NBSAPs are basically the policy direction for countries when it comes to implementing the GBF. About 2-3 months ago, there was a regional dialogue, and each state had to mention how they were implementing the whole of society approach. So whole of society means who is in your specific state and how are you targeting them? How are you ensuring that you're including them not only in the validation, but in the development process of the NBSAP? And so most countries had actual case studies of networks that they're working with when it comes to indigenous people and local communities, youth, persons with disabilities, women, men, name it. And that has been beautiful to see, because what we're seeing now, especially when it comes to IPs and LCs, is we're seeing language that is favorable to these contexts. So when I came in early, so like she said, I engage in biodiversity and not so much climate. But a lot of the conversation that has been here since morning has really been the same thing that's happening in biodiversity. When you talk about inclusion of youth, I'm a youth myself, so we have youth who are engaging directly in different processes. So for us, we need to understand what are we really doing and how is that contributing to the overall goal. So now we are here for ICA. I had people who were talking about Nairobi Summer School with PACJA. There's AYC. In biodiversity, we have a youth network called Global Biodiversity Youth Network. So how are we working together and not competing? So that when we are having our contribution in the NBSAP process, it's really the youth position. One of the things we really value as an organization is social profile, which is looking at disaggregated data. So when you talk about youth, who are these youth? And I like the discussion that we had here in the morning when I think Alphonse was going through the declaration. Because when we're saying youth, who are these youth? Are the voices of the women, who are youth included? Are the voices of the men, persons with disabilities, people at the grassroots? Had those been included in the conversation? Because it's key for us when we are developing key messages. The key messages are a reflection of youth as a whole, all right? So the NBSAPs can be further localized at community level. I don't know how many people here have heard of something called biocultural community protocols, especially those from Madagascar, Kenya, and South Africa. So communities document their traditional knowledge with regards to biological diversity, biological conservation, and biocultural heritage. And these are a way of further localizing the NBSAPs. So I'll give an example of a community in Kenya called the Aware. They come from the coastal side of Kenya, and they are in the process of developing their biocultural protocol that is telling their story of how they have used traditional knowledge to conserve the Boni Lungi forest. So that, again, is directly contributing to the NBSAP and to the implementation of the GBF at grassroots level.
Got it. Thank you so much. And I think it's very inspiring for me to see that you are a young person, a young professional who is working on this. And so there is no one way to do advocacy. Some of us are young professionals like you. Some of us are activists. Some of us participated in the PACJA Summer School. So thank you so much also for sharing how biodiversity can also be localized. And we hope that you would share the resources that you mentioned, including the Biodiversity Youth Network and so on, with all of us here in this room. My next question is for you again, Ms. Leah. Ecosystems restoration is not only about nature, it's also about indigenous people, about communities, about human rights, about right-based approaches, and so on. And so how do we ensure that all of these aspects are not lost when we do ecosystem restoration? Can you share maybe some examples from your work in which, how do we make sure that ecosystem restoration is centered on communities?
Thank you for your question, and I'll go back first to answer your previous one, which I realized I skipped, on how the youth can be involved in the Great Green Wall Initiative. So we do have national focal points in each country, Great Green Wall national focal points. Unfortunately, we don't have so there's SADC region and the Sahel. In East Africa, no. So this year, our effort is to try and have a continental kind of thing with every country involved. So we'll get back to you on that, but you can already start engaging at the national level to see if they have been approached by the Commission to nominate people to join, like to be the focal point for the Great Green Wall Initiative. But that would be people working in the forestry, agriculture, and climate as well, because as we said, this is, so the countries who are part of this, please do check and work with the national focal points for the Great Green Wall Initiative, because we are encouraging them to bring on board youth representatives and also, as you mentioned, other non-state actors, indigenous peoples and local communities, etc. So the other thing, so yeah, we do have those. For Ethiopia, it's Mr. Adefires. So you should talk to him. It's part of the Green Legacy Initiative as well. And there will be a session, I think a high-level session on how, for example, the Green Legacy Initiative is also contributing to the implementation of the Great Green Wall Initiative. So I will check and I'll send this information through your network, and we can see how to best engage. In terms of how to make sure the people are involved, but I'll also go back to the biodiversity one before I run out. So we do have the Africa Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan. So it's like biodiversity strategy. And now we try to have one continental one. So it's we're calling it the ABSAP. So we are trying to see how to work with countries to also kind of harmonize the implementation of that, but also have a common reporting framework, but of course in consultation with the countries. We have, as part of the, again, still under the biodiversity, yes, the Great Green Wall, of course, contributes to that through because it has targets as well on restoring ecosystems. So it has kind of set up the targets. I've just lost the figures on how countries should contribute to the GBF targets. So I will link up with you as well and see how we can, as the countries are reporting on their biodiversity targets, they also are reporting already on the implementation of the Great Green Initiative. So they don't have to do it twice, because some countries are doing that, but they are not reporting it as biodiversity, because the connections have not been done. So we'd have some policy briefs, which we'll be sharing as well, which we have tried to link, for example, the biodiversity component and the Great Green Wall Initiative. We have done also one on climate change finance, or climate finance and the Great Green Wall. So we're about 7, peace and security as well, soils and the Great Green Wall. So there are all these resources available. They are not yet online, but we are pushing to have them there as soon as possible. So please do check them out. In terms of involving the local communities in the processes, part of the implementation of the Great Green Wall is we have a coordination mechanism. It's not fully operational, but we do have, at the grassroots level, we have the national focal points. And in those national focal points, we have national coordination platforms. And under those platforms, this is where we have the different actors. So be it the farmers, be it the people working on water, be it the youth, the entrepreneurs as well. So all those should work together and see how they are all contributing to the effort. So at the national level, we have those, what we are calling national clusters, and they do have representatives of many CSOs. Again, our target this year is to ensure that this program is not restricted just to the Sahel and or the SADC region who have also joined, but to see if it's a continental initiative, since most countries are affected by the same issues. And with that, I will beg to leave. And then if you have any more questions, I think Alphonse can just shoot them and I'll quickly come back to respond maybe towards the end. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. We know how busy you are. So thank you, Sel, for coming here and sharing with us your perspectives. And I hear that we have a lot of homework to do from our side in terms of going to our local governments and these national focal points, either to be nominated or already nominated, and check how we can better bring in youth voices into the Great Green Wall Initiative, but also broader ecosystem restoration efforts. So thank you so much again. Please keep us posted on what goes on in the other room. A lot of us here are interested in knowing the updates. And also share any resources you have.
One last thing, South Africa did make it one of the priorities for the G20. So if you check under the second pillar, which is on land degradation, desertification, there is a component on the Great Green Initiative. So there are efforts to amplify and issues of land restoration, which have been actually put on the side for many years. So they are back. So yes.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I asked a question this morning about how I feel like climate change is not a priority anymore. We're very happy that you are still pushing to keep it there in everybody's mind. So thank you so much. And we hope you'll come back to be with us, or maybe we can take a good picture with you. But thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Can we please clap for her because she's leaving us? You will be missed. Now, my next question is to you, Doctor. You mentioned that awareness is a big thing in terms of ecosystem restoration, but how can we translate that awareness into action? How can we make sure that us as young people and the communities we work on not only know why this work is important, but actually get started and get involved directly in it?
Well, awareness is a buzzword in development, of course. So the challenge is how do you raise awareness, and when is awareness raised? I think from experience again, the key to raising awareness is consistency, clear messaging that is substantiated by evidence. So, and then speaking the local language, it's not the vernacular per se, but the language that people, in a manner that people understand it. So if you know it, then you should be able to explain it to people, right? So what we do is we do what we think is right consistently, uninterrupted. We just don't talk about it. We do it, yeah, and demonstrate, what we do, and that's uninterrupted. No matter how many people turn up for our weekly events, if it's 2, that's okay. If it's 200, that's better. Otherwise, we'll never stop. Then we generate data. For instance, in our weekly blogging activities, how much have we collected? We also try to do a brand audit. That is, what kind of plastic trash do we find, in the park and other areas where we collect plastic trash. So that's by way of generating evidence. And then we use, as I said, the social media to communicate mainly and principally to youth, because we know that's where the youth are. So we use Facebook, we use TikTok, Instagram, and then for professionals, LinkedIn. And then that way we try to raise awareness. We also use platforms like mainstream media. Over 40 media in the country and international media as well have covered our activities, which means that our effort to raise awareness has reached far and beyond. And we know that because authorities respond to some of our questions, consult us about it, consider us as a force in this, constructive engagement and what have you. So if you do it consistently, and then you use evidence to substantiate your messaging, and then your message is simple and palatable to the people that you want to address, I think eventually awareness will be raised. That's the experience I have. I don't know what the theory says, but that's the experience I have.
And it's a very valid experience and an inspiring one. And we hope that when we go to our communities and talk to them about protecting nature and restoring ecosystems, we would do exactly that. And I'm sure it would 100% work. Now for my last question, and if we can also, keep it short so we can also transition to the audience. Please, audience, prepare any questions you have that we can ask to our remaining panelists. And so my question to you is, I have a lot of activists within my circle who say that it's very easy to be a climate activist rather than do biodiversity work. And so my question to you, how can we start doing biodiversity work? I know a lot of us here are in this because we care about climate change, but how do we get started in biodiversity? As young people, how can we engage communities? How can we make this work inclusive?
All right, thanks for the question. So one is to see how to engage, like I talked about the NBSAP process. So there's a deadline for February 2026. Some countries have already submitted, some have not. So just going back to your countries and figuring out where they are and how you can involve yourselves, include yourselves in the process. Partnering and working with existing networks. So for example, like I said here, there's ICA, there's AYC, there's Global Biodiversity Youth Network, name it. How are we working with these existing networks to have a consistent message? So Atari spoke about consistency, and our consistency needs to be also in our key messaging. So for example, if there's a key message that will come out of this for ecosystem restoration, how are we going to ensure that that's been amplified at the upcoming Africa Biodiversity Summit? Three, like I said, is understanding who are we as youth. You know, you can only address what you know and what you understand. So who are we as youth? And that's, so for me, the project, there's a project that we're implementing called the People Powering Biodiversity. And it's really at landscape community level. And so when we're talking about youth, it's how many are there? And then, like I talked about, ensuring that we have the women, the men, the persons with disabilities, and so on and so forth. And using that would be powerful for you because you would have numbers, but you'd also know what gaps these numbers are trying to sort of fill in. Then there's also documenting traditional knowledge. So you notice that when you have intergenerational dialogue, a lot of information is passed to youth. And so we are able to, especially around conservation, we're able to act from a point of knowledge. So how are you working with the older generation in your different areas of engagement in ensuring that you're documenting traditional knowledge? So if you're, let's say, protecting a forest, we understand how they were able to conserve that forest to be where it is today. Finally, is working with government. So with the GBF, you know, the government is the primary, we call the central organ when it comes to implementation. So how are we working with them and how are we holding them accountable? So for example, when they call for us to give inputs in papers, are we giving those inputs or are we not giving those inputs? And when the paper comes out, we say that the youth have not been included. So how are we working with government in a meaningful way and also in a way that represents, like I said, the youth as a whole? Thanks.
Thank you so much. Can you please clap for our panelists for all of these really amazing insights? We look up to you in the work that we do in climate action, biodiversity loss, and ecosystems restoration. And I hope you can continue to also look to us with resources, with mentorship and guidance. So maybe with that, I can take 2 to 3 questions from the floor. Okay, I'll take one from this side, then one from this side. Okay, I see the gentleman there. For the sake of inclusivity, we can take a question in French. Fidel?
Merci Manal. Bonsoir à tous. Moi, ma question que je voulais poser, Manal l'a déjà posée et le docteur a déjà répondu. C'était par rapport à comment on fait pour atteindre les communautés par rapport à la pollution plastique. Et vous avez parlé des réseaux sociaux et des entretiens aussi. Vous avez aussi parlé des données scientifiques. Alors, moi, ma question que je me pose, pour avoir ces données scientifiques, il faut un financement. Et chez nous, en Côte d'Ivoire, pour avoir un financement, c'est tellement difficile. Alors, en tant que docteur, en tant que professionnel dans ce domaine, comment faites-vous pour avoir le financement, pour faire ces recherches, pour avoir des données scientifiques? Je vous remercie.
I can translate. Thank you so much. I'll translate and then we can take all the questions and then pass it on to you. His question is, he had the same question as me about how to involve communities, and he really appreciated that you mentioned data. And he also agrees that there's a huge data gap, especially when it comes to plastic pollution. But then he says to have data is very expensive. So how can we get financial resources to get to fill in this data gap that we have in plastic pollution? Another question maybe from, okay, I see one there, the Ethiopian gentleman.
Thank you very much. My name is Agamla Kalamayu from Ethiopia, also the Nairobi Summer School participant. So my question is first for Professor Freo. So what should be the role of the environmental defenders on the biodiversity protection and restoration? For example, also the environmental defenders are highly vulnerable to trade via physical or man-made trade. Also, they engage in illegal activities in Philippines, Mexico, in other Democratic Republic, Congo, and others. So, what is your perspective on this regard? My second question is also for two panelists. What should be the strategic litigation process or justice issue should be implemented on the environmental and biodiversity protection? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We take, I see a gentleman there who had his hand first. Yes, you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Gutaw actually from Ethiopia. I have a question for the presence from GBIF. You are supporting local communities in order to conserve forests by using traditional knowledges. And you are supporting by different ways and you are with our local communities. Thank you to say that. And my question is, what measures are in place to ensure funding is fair? What you are funding is fair and accessible and not hindered by bureaucratic barriers. How you can be assured that it is free from bureaucratic barriers. And the second one is how does the global biodiversity framework account for differences between terrestrial, freshwater, and the marine ecosystems in restoration approaches? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm just realizing it's very bad to be moderator because I want to give the floor to all of you, especially my fellow participants from the summer school. But with that, let's keep it at those 3 questions. Some of them are technical, some of them are not. Doctor, would you like to take some of the questions that were addressed to you?
If I get the question right, on financing data on plastics, is that from Cote d'Ivoire, right? So how do we get financing to generate data on plastics? Is that the question? I'm not sure if I have the right answer for that, honestly. So when I say evidence from our experience, remember ours is just a volunteers, engagement. These are nature enthusiasts who love, what nature has, the waters, the forests, mountains, and what have you, and asking ourselves, what can we do to contribute? And one way, as I mentioned earlier, is to use evidence that we have at our disposal, and use that evidence to communicate a key message about plastic pollution. And how do we do that? We just collect the plastic and weigh it, and then use some scientific data which is available on the internet to give meaning to, for instance, what does 1 kg of plastics mean? What does it mean? How does it affect? So there's a lot of resource on the internet, and then we use that and use a simple language to communicate the message across. So the data in this case is generated, freely with no budget, honestly. But look at it, over a year, 52 weeks period, for instance, you have 52, piece of information, data that you can collect. Yeah. So that is something meaningful and significant. So that's how we do it. On the role of environmental defenders, to biodiversity, I don't know who the environmental defenders are in this particular case. If you are referring to the wardens, forest wardens, and rangers, or civil society organizations engaged in this, there's no question about it. But the point is, we have to consider ourselves as environmental defenders. That's what I take upon myself. That's what my colleagues, have taken upon themselves. We are defenders. We are defenders of our environment. Some defenders are organized, funded. They have a structured organization. But then, no one can stop you from defending your environment the way you do. So our movement basically is a demonstration of that. So is it valuable? Yes, it is. You need to hold hands, come together for this. But I think group individual efforts also count in this regard. On strategic issues on environmental protection, I mean, this is a broad question, honestly speaking. You can devise different strategies on matters of environmental protection. I'm not an expert. By the way, I'm a mental health professional, so forgive me for that. But, I'm the citizen of the world, so the environment concerns me. So that's not my area of expertise, I'm afraid. Thank you.
No, no worries at all. Thank you so much for all here in this room, experts in our own communities and our own teams that we work on. Now pass it on to you, our biodiversity superstar.
All right. So to answer the first gentleman's question on, I think similar to what you said, strategic engagement, I'll focus on two things. One is inclusive conservation and two is direct financing. So increasingly more and more organizations, including WWF, are looking at directly financing locally led financial mechanisms, all right? And these are developed at grassroots level, and that's helpful. It's a way to engage as youth. I had someone talk about a platform there called Mesokja that have organized them specific landscape and are about to receive funding, direct funding for conservation. Two is inclusive conservation. So like the lady from AUC spoke, she said that, biodiversity is looking at people living in harmony with nature. So how are we ensuring that we are defining inclusive conservation in a manner that fits our context, right? So who should be included in this conversation? Are they included? And if not, how do we include them? For us, the biggest gap we saw is indigenous people and local communities. And one of the things that we are focusing on in our strategy until 2030, we're calling it Roadmap 2030, is amplifying locally led conservation. Because through that, you're able to directly implement the GBF by focusing on communities as key stakeholders. And then the question on direct financing, I think I've alluded to it when answering his question. Organizing. So like in Republic of Congo, there's the Mesokja platform. In Kenya, we have what we call Kenyan, so we have community land management committees who are developing land use plans, and through those land use plans, they are receiving direct financing to implement their plans. So really, if you organize yourself in terms of you have a structure, the lady who moderated the previous session, you have the legal registration, you're organized. So when you're even applying for funding, we can say, this funding is going to so and so, all right? So through organizing, I've seen that help. A lot of the structures at community level receive direct financing. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. This is the end of our panel. I'll just end with one quote that means a lot for me. So I am... Okay, sure. We have 1 minute from our doctor here.
Well, I'm sorry. I just can't leave without conveying this message to all of you. I understand that I'm the only graying man here, so and as Africans, please listen carefully. All right, this is a message from me. So my message is okay. There are structures and bureaucracies and funds and what have you. When it comes to the environment, we are responsible. You are responsible. Don't wait for any organization. Go out, plant trees, go out, clean your environment, and go out and tell your people to conserve. And it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. If you take just half a day, even 2 hours out of a week, you can do a lot, and if you can do it consistently. That's what I would like to convey to you. Meetings, conferences are great, but go out and do it. Let your hands touch the soil. It's not toxic. It's our soil. So go out, plant trees, go out and clean your rivers, and go out and teach our people. Ghana, I'm coming early October, and I'm planning a plugging activity. So those of you from Ghana, please watch my LinkedIn space. And then anyone from Latin America, Colombia, mid-November, sorry, I'm coming. And I'm not coming with funds. I'm combining this with my job. I have a full-time job. Wherever I go, I spare 2-3 hours to plug, to organize people, young people. And it's possible. It's possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think this is the end of our panel. I will just end with one quote that I'm reflecting on. I'm celebrating my birthday next Wednesday. There's a quote that, please, I expect gifts from all of you. There's a quote that someone told me last year, which is, 2 days are the most important days in your lives, the one you are born and the one you find out why. I think I found out my why, which is restore ecosystems, make sure our planet is livable for us and for the next generations. And I hope you all find your whys and keep this fight for climate justice, keep this fight for ecosystems restoration. Thank you all. Okay, let's now transition to the next panel. Can I take selfie with all of you here in this room? Okay. I'll take it later. My phone is not working well. But yeah, thank you all so much. I'll pass it on to. Did you like this panel? Really? Can I have more energy? Did I moderate well? A little? Okay. Apologies also for the technical issues earlier.
Thank you so much. I know it's already late, but it's going to be the same as Alphonse, a kind of lecture. So bear with me. But I just want to hear your voice. So what do we want? What do we want? I think it's only 3% that are in this room. What do we want? When do we want it? So I'm hoping that you had followed our social medias. So we have been trying to get a commitment tracker for the ICA 2025 climate scorecard, which is a kind of stock taking, which we are seeing the ACS Africa Climate Summit 1 commitments, and we are doing a stock taking. So now I'm going to present what we have get from you guys within the form. So if you have any additional inputs, we are going to also take them. So what we did is we tried to divide it into thematic areas and the commitment type, the commitment source, also reference and the status. We tried to see that. So on the youth engagement part, the first one is the inaugural ICA President Ruto pledged that the next summit of the AU has youth not as attendees, but with a statement on what they think the outfit should do. And that he would petition the AU so that every AU discussion to have youth representatives. We caught this from the President William Ruto, and when we see the status, it's all still evolving, and with the development of the ICA 2025 declaration, which is we are going to present tomorrow for you guys after we gave the input. The second one is still the President Ruto calling ICA the most important part of Africa Climate Summit, and the FDB president made a commitment to champion for ICA as a continental principal forum for youth engagement in climate governance process, including the ACS, and provide it with requisite capacity. So we have got that from the President William Ruto and the FDB president as well. Still, the ICA institutionalization and capacitation still has gaps, even if we are on the second ICA still here. So the third one is on the paragraph 45 of the commitments made by the African HOCH, the commits further to enhance the inclusive approach, which is the Africa Leaders Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change and Call to Action. So still there's a warning sign on this as well for Africa to given its age structure. The inaugural ICA President Ruto made a pledge including youth representative in the National Climate Council. Still that has been not executed. Also, the FDB president made a pledge that FDB will financially support the ICA Secretariat for its sustainability. That also hasn't been executed, even for this ICA 2025. The second theme is youth targeted climate finance. So there has been a discussion on a youth entrepreneurship investment banks for financing youth initiatives. There are some, there are some initiations which is YBs have been launched in Liberia, Nigeria, and expansion in the pipeline, but still we need clear allocation on the investment of green enterprises. The same on the inaugural ICA, FDB and GCA announced 1 billion USD Youth Adapt initiative to provide seed financing and scale capital, and also 29 million USD climate adaptation window to provide 20 million farmers and livestock keepers within insurance. There has been a disbursement which is over 1.5 US million to 33 young entrepreneurs, but still we need more action on this one. Access to green jobs and skills. In the operative paragraph 30 of the Nairobi Declaration, there is some commitment to promote investment in reskilling to unlock the human capital that will power for Africa inclusive green transition. There's a progress, according to the DEVEX forecasting. Africa Green Jobs indicates that 30% of green jobs will require vocational training and certification, and it need more action, but still it's in progress, this one as well. Renewable energy for communities. In the paragraph 26 of the Nairobi Declaration, it's committed to promote clean cooking technologies and initiative as a just energy transition and gender equality for African rural women, youth, and children. So according to IEA, roughly 80% of households still rely on traditional biomass, which is wood, charcoal, dung for cooking, but still clear mechanisms haven't been exist that facilitate youth mainstreaming in this process. Another thematic point that we have been identified is youth entrepreneurship and trade. So the Nairobi Declaration talks about strengthening continental collaboration, which is essential to enabling advancing green growth, including but not limited to regional and continental grid only, but it furtherly accelerated the operationalization of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is the AfTA agreement. Still there's a progress, but still we need action on this one. Early warning resilience is also something that has been mentioned on the paragraph 44 to enhance drought resilience system, to shift from crisis management to proactive droughts. But still there needs to be action on this one. The other main issue is on loss and damage, which is on paragraph 22, Nairobi Declaration, the operationalization of the losses and damage fund as agreed at COP27 and resolve for measurable global goal on adaptation. But, and I don't know why Jonah is clapping, but according to the UN Economic Commission for Africa, ECA, celebrated the agreement, but noted that only USD 400 million in pledge had been secured by late 2023. So still there needs a progress. So this has been what we try to identify based on your submission. So if you have any more additional submission, please let us know. You can mention it now, or still we have the link on our social media. So make sure to put it until tomorrow morning. Is that Alphonse? Yes. So please do it until tomorrow morning. Thank you. Do we we have.
Okay. So that was a very, very long day, right? But it was a very, there was representatives from high level, representatives from experts, there were representatives from various generations, from different parts of the world, from different parts of Africa, right? Or no? Right? Exactly. So just a little bit of a clap for Aika. Just a little bit of a clap. Yeah, I know. I know it's a very long day. We've been here pretty much the whole day. We had a very tough time with some of our travels, but I would really, really like to appreciate everyone that is still here, that has been here, and that has been connecting with us online this whole time, guys. There are people that are still online, engaging with us and sharing their inputs. So let's just give them a little bit of a round of applause for people on the online. And for people that were moderating here, it has been really, really nice for you to engage. So this is just day 1. Day 2 is happening tomorrow. We will be shifting our venue onto a different one because there has been a bit of a gap of information. But yeah, we go to Hidase venue. Can you say Hidase? Hidase or Renaissance, okay? That's going to be the hall that we're going to be using tomorrow because this venue is going to be used by another high-level session. We're very happy that you are all here. But if you are also willing to plant tomorrow, there is a parallel session happening in partnership with ICA national team. For further information, please talk to Efrata. Efrata, can you please stand up? I think some of you guys know her in Nairobi Summer School. It is happening tomorrow morning. There's going to be at least 60 seats for you to go plant and come back to the pre-summit. So please do engage with her for anyone that wants to go and plant and leave their legacy here in Addis. Okay? Thank you, everybody. If there isn't any other, sorry. There will be bus provided. There is going to be transportation, and you're going to come back right here. Okay? Okay, sawa sawa? Okay, do we have anything left, guys? Anything? Mana is still asking for the group picture. So if anybody wants to take a group picture, please go to her and take group picture over there. Have a beautiful evening. Safe travels wherever you're going back to today. Have a beautiful evening. Ciao. For those of you who are still not part of the WhatsApp groups, please contact me. I will add you in personally. Huh? Starting time for tomorrow will be at 9 a.m. Okay, 9 a.m. sharp. We have a lot of panelists tomorrow as well. So many people that want to join the WhatsApp. Sorry.